Hi guys, welcome back to Gardening with Creations by DX & Co. You did read that right. We are closing down our pond. Not for good, just for the winter season. We're starting all of our fall projects, and as you guys know, the more you garden, the more you have to do to get done in the fall. It is currently mid-September right now, and we are getting ready to close out the pond. We've had some extremely chilly nights, so let's get started. Unfortunately, we can't get a consistent temperature in the pond, so that means it's time to start closing down the pond. Actually keep them inside in fish tanks that we keep inside over the winter. I'm going to completely drain out this pond here. Then we're going to start dressing some of these plants. We're already starting to get some die off from some of our plants already. Well, I'll go through the plants that we have, whether or not they are an annual or a perennial, and how we're going to address that. This is a pond. If you guys haven't checked out that pond build video, I'll go ahead and link it in the description below, as well as try to link it at the end of the video for you. That is an awesome one on how we built this pond for less than $500. Despite everything going on, you can probably still source all this material for that much. You can see here in the front we've got some coleus. Now, coleus in particular is a annual, so it is not a perennial. It's not going to come back year after year. That hosta that's right there dead center is a actual perennial, meaning it will pop back up year over year, and it will become fuller and fuller and start to look more like the hosta that's on the left there. Now, you notice there are two different colors. They are two different varieties of hosta. Those leaves might get a little bit bigger, start to actually overflow the waterfall. Might be really cool looking. We'll see, time will tell, right? But let me take you on top of the hill here and explain a couple of other things we have going on here. So as you can see there, we've got a beautiful canna lily. If you haven't seen the video on how to prune that canna lily, I definitely recommend checking that out. Canna lilies are a subtropical plant, if you will. They're not necessarily meant for this environment. It is a perennial, but not necessarily in this zone, meaning it is a bulb. It will come back. The recommendation is actually to dig up the bulb and store it in your garage or in a basement, a cool temperature climate, and then you can replant it again. And I love the fact that we pruned it and it came up and popped up with 2 new flowers. In less than a month, we got all that extra growth just from pruning it. This red one right here on the left, it's what they call a spike. I'm sure there's a technical name for this particular spike, but I don't have it. Unfortunately, it is an annual. Along with the one that's in the back there, it's the same one. It's used a lot as a decoration in potted plants to give it another extra pop of color. It's grown well in these small spaces, just kind of giving a lot of overflow. They're not an expensive plant, so if you were looking to, replace it year after year, it's not one that's overly expensive. All right, let's move on a little bit here. And you can see there we have got the Asiatic lily in the back there, that tall one on the left here. That is an Asiatic lily. Then we've got an ornamental grass and another Asiatic lily right there on the right. 2 different colors of the flower, beautiful perennial plant. Right there in the center is a type of grass. Again, I don't know the variety off the top of my head, but it is an ornamental grass. That particular ornamental grass is a perennial. It will come back next year if it's taken care of properly. Next up, we have the ornamental grass in the back. That is the red fountain, I believe is the variety of that one. It is absolutely stunning. You can see the cats love to eat it, so every time our cats make it outside, usually eating that one. Again, it's a perennial. It will come back. To the left of that, you see the hosta. It'll grow fuller than it is currently. First season, very small plants. The hostas I just let die off where they lay. I don't prune them. It's a different variety than the other 2 you saw. We wanted some different variety of hostas that make some beautiful ones. There's the Patriot variety, the Comet variety, I believe. And then there's a solid green leaf hosta as well that is not represented in this whatsoever. I'll also link the video on when we planted all of these plants that I actually went through all the different varieties for you. You see right here, this one in particular, this big green leafy thing that looks like it needs to be pruned because it's taken over everything. Believe it or not, that is a citronella plant to keep mosquitoes away, right? Well, it doesn't actually keep mosquitoes away, but that's the idea and why people buy citronella, to make bug spray, natural bug spray, so on and so forth. I've got a bucket here for it to catch the fish. This is actually just one of those minnow nets that you get for like the beach type of deal. They're pretty cheap and they work really well for these larger situations with these fish. So just a cheap idea for you. What I'm going to do is just fill this up with some water from here. This is not what I'm going to pour into my indoor fish tanks. I do need some water to put these guys in. We've got our goldfish here we just caught out. There you go. Beautiful goldfish, good size on them. We do feed the pond, but they do actually feed off the algae and growth in the ponds. It's actually a great idea to actually keep goldfish in a pond because of that reason. You should not feed them more than once or twice a week usually. Show you a picture of this beast right here. But he's okay. So there you have it. We've got them caught out. I'm gonna go ahead and catch out all of the water lettuce now so that I can take that in. Okay, so as you can see, we've got the cover that just drained out all the water. Fish are safely inside, but now we're gonna talk about getting some of these actual plants removed. So let's get started here. So you can see this hole here, that was where the citronella plant was. We went ahead and took that pot out. So you can see that black rim, that's a pot that's actually in the ground, pot inside of a pot. So you could barely tell it was nicely covered up, and a great way to take out your annuals and store them inside for the winter. The Canna lilies, I mentioned before, my wife and I were talking, we were going to dig up this bulb. There's a lot of people who choose not to dig them up and they have great success. We're not concerned with whether or not it comes back. Yes, we love it. We would like it to come back. We're also going to be putting a tarp over this area. So with that being said, we feel like this might be a good time to test it come back. So we will bring you guys along for the ride and let you know our success rate. What I want to do here with this is actually come right down to the base of it. And just cut it just like that. Let me bring you in a little bit closer, show you exactly how that looks now that I've cut it out here. See, it's got those nice little stumps left in there. That's what I cut out. As you can see with my Asiatic lilies here, they're starting to die off. I'm going to cut that right down. Okay, so next on the list we actually have our ornamental grasses. You see the green one in the middle there. We've also got our red fountain grass here on the right. Both of those are perennials, meaning they will come back year after year. Now you get reports, a lot of people saying that they actually don't come back for them, and it's most often than not is because they actually leave them growing like this through the winter. They don't actually take the time to trim them up. What you want to do is trim them up about 2 inches above where they're at. Switched over from my actual pruning shears that I clipped the Asiatic lilies with down to a pair of actual kitchen scissors, standard little kitchen shears. So I do keep a pair of these in my garden along with my pruning shears. So trying to dig a little bit of this out of the rocks, make sure I get it all up, get it nice and trim, and I'll bring you guys in for a tighter shot on this of what I'm talking about. This is a lot larger. Such a pretty grass, really is. See if I can find the tag here. It's a purple fountain grass is the name of this one. So you can see the purple fountain grass there. We've got it cut quite low now. And then also the green grass there is also cut quite low. And then we're going to let the hostas naturally die back. Can you cut back hostas? Yes is the answer. I don't ever do it with any of my hostas. I let them all die back naturally where they lay. I clean them out in the spring, just any dead leaves around them, and then they come back beautiful year after year. I'm going to try to start by just kind of displacing some of the rocks around it. I think we got a pretty good root ball there, as you can see. Looks pretty good. Plant's pretty healthy overall. These are often used, actually. Spikes are most commonly used, believe it or not, in planters to add a pop of color. So they'll put it like something like this, which would look absolutely beautiful. I did pick up the tarp for it. That is an 11 by 8 foot tarp. Got it at a local Harbor Freight. All right, let's get this covered up. I'm just simply using some zip ties, and that's just because I had them. You could definitely use some string. This particular tarp, I got the one with the grommet holes in it, so that I'd be able to do this effectively. All right, so we have now got our tarp laid down. We've got it zip tied to the fence so that it's not going to blow away. Now we need some weight on top of the outside edge here. For that, I've got some cinder blocks. So we've got our load of cinder blocks now on there, just kind of holding down the tarp all around the edges, as you can see. So we've officially done. So there we have it, guys. We're all set getting the pond ready for the spring. Doing the work a little bit here in the fall makes it so much easier, so we don't have to clean up as much. I'll be interested to see how those calla lilies actually do, as we're not pulling them out of the ground in this winter Michigan weather. And they were actually starting to shoot off shoots like it was springtime already, and I think it's just because our weather has been crazy this year in Michigan. I'm starting to roll up my sleeves because we're mid-October and we're supposed to hit 70 today, so it's a bit crazy. It's a good day to get some yard work done if the rain holds off. I appreciate you guys watching. If you guys want to see actually how we built this pond, I'll link that. Just click the videos at the end here and some other great videos to come. I appreciate you guys watching. Stay safe and enjoy in your gardens. And just cut it just like that. Batman! No. Get him in the bucket. Up. Rocks out of the way. And Batman. Shh.